Good day, everybody, and welcome to Encore at the House of Mario, the After Party Nintendo podcast. And this Encore is a review discussion all about Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. And joining me here is a very special guest. Her name is Delfino Durians. Delfino, welcome to the show.
Hoi hoi, Drew. It's great to see you.
Yeah,
I've
you
been
too.
very out of podcast mood lately. It's been like 4 or 5 months since I've updated my own show, so this is a great transition to get back into things.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's happened? Just busy in life
Just,
or?
just that I really wanted to enjoy the summer vacation. I had taken a little pause after spring break, I want to say, from university, because it was like, oh no, a bunch of papers to write and finals coming up. And then that happened, and then it was like, I just want to coast on this free period, and that lasted the entire summer.
Yeah, no.
See about getting it back on track.
Well, it's
As
important
slowly as
just to enjoy your time. So,
Oh yeah,
don't need your podcast to run your life.
it's true. Does
Yeah.
make me money.
Yeah, well, that would be nice, wouldn't it? Would be nice.
It's the House of Mario. Have you gotten a single cent from the House of Mario at all?
A
We
single
get Patreon
cent.
money.
Yes, we got the Patreon, so we got the very nice people that support us on Patreon. But as far as like anything else, no. This is this is
Okay.
passion project. This is what I love to do. So, yeah, no.
I mean, that's where it starts out.
It's funny because whenever I talk to like my parents or whatever, I think my parents or older people or just people that aren't familiar with podcasting or YouTube or whatever,
Yeah.
they think like you have something on the internet, you must be raking it in. You must be
Yeah,
just
content.
Yeah.
Meeting with sponsors, doing tie-ins, getting money, sponsorships. Would you be opposed to doing mid-rolls and sponsoring a product?
No, just as long as it's relevant to my audience and I'm 100% aware of that it's a good product and that it will
Yeah.
add value to someone. But if it's just like
Okay.
if someone just comes to me and be like, "Oh, look, we've got a gummy bear and we really want you to do it," and
We want you
here's
to
money.
sponsor Raid Shadow Legends.
Absolutely
would
not.
you do
Yeah.
it?
No, absolutely
No.
not. No, that would be so stupid. I'm like, yeah, no. Probably any game sponsorships probably a no go for a gaming podcast. Yeah, but it'd be good, like just get like the basic boys here, like Manscaped or something. Look, I need a shave. Someone sponsor me, please.
I was gonna say Raycons might be the most apt for a podcast.
Potentially.
Go on the go.
I also love. I'm also like a bit of an Apple fan. I love my AirPods, so I might be a bit of a hypocrite there. They might have to really try and convince me on that one.
I cannot stand to look at the price tag on AirPods. I look at them and it's like, that's too much. And for how small it is, I feel like if I lost it, it's like when you lose a ring or some sort of jewelry that's super pricey. And you're like, I just lost $3,000
Yeah,
worth of a ring. Like how many Nintendo games could I have bought for that? I could have bought 10 Nintendo Switches with
yeah.
with that ring.
You just think about, I could have had that Splatoon 3 Switch OLED. I
could've-
could have had the Pokemon lights.
So good. I do like to quantify things in price in relative price to like Nintendo games. So I'll see something, it'll be $40, like a rice cooker my sister and I were looking at recently, and I'm like, oh, that could get me a 3DS game on MSRP.
Not
Is,
anymore.
is a rice cooker in equal value to a 3DS game? I guess that helps with thinking about purchases.
Yeah, I can
And I
imagine.
make crazy impulse purchases for
Yeah.
things
you
that
just
don't
sit- if-
need but make me happy. So,
Oh, what is that? What is that? Explain for the listeners.
oh,
I
okay.
got no idea
Well,
myself. I'm looking
gosh.
at it.
Okay. Well, so what it is I'm a very large fan of Pretty Cure. Favorite season of it, best season of all time, I'd say, is Go Princess Precure. And there it's a magical girl anime. So, they've got transformation items and they've got attacking items. So this is for the mid-season cure. She has a scarlet violin, and just so you know, you can turn it on.
Okay. Oh.
And then you
Oh,
put
violin.
in
Yeah.
a little key at the top, and you turn it. And then she'll say the dress up key. She's supposed to say Phoenix, which you won't. You put in dress up key. And then you can play the violin. And she'll say lines from the show. And that's pretty much what it does.
Well, there you go. So,
and that's all it does. But it means a lot to me, and it's a really good deal for it. So I bought it off eBay.
Yeah. Is that going to be like a display item, or are you going to get it out and just jam with it and play with it? Or
I don't know. It's a little embarrassing if I'm at university and my roommate sees me. Just be like, just putting keys into the.
Is that a transformer? What you got there, Delfino?
She goes, what is that? And I go, it's nothing. It's nothing. I don't want to talk about it. It takes longer to explain than it does to get you into it. Yeah. Anyways, speaking of embarrassing things to be playing with other people in the room, Fire Emblem Warriors.
Oh, look at that! She's segueing herself. Yeah, Fire Emblem Warriors: Three Hopes. Yeah, I think we both enjoyed it. I think we had a tiny. We both enjoyed it. Just talking a little bit on Discord. I didn't want to, you know, wreck our thoughts too much. You know, we'll talk about it here on the show. But like for me, just quickly, like my history with Fire Emblem's a little bit shaky. I actually really enjoy it, but I usually fall off the game. So when it came to the Warriors game, I was like, you know what, I want to make sure I finish this. So I played nothing but this game for a week after I finished a couple of other games that I was playing, and I really enjoyed it. I haven't, but it's a weird sort of perspective I have because I haven't played through Three Houses, which is kind of blasphemy to a lot of other people.
I'm actually not here to offer a differing opinion because I too have not played through it, but I've watched it. Excellent. I've watched a lot. I pretty much know to a vague extent what happens in each path in Three Houses, but I only played through one so far. I'm going through my second playthrough for Golden Wildfire, and once I'm done with that, I guess I'll go through Scarlet Blaze, because why not? Just play them all.
That's cool. So did you ever pick up Three Houses, or were you just not that interested in it?
No, I think at that point Switch library was pretty small, I do believe, and while I was wanting to get it, I was thinking about it a lot. I would just get I just don't remember why I was not thinking about getting it. It's just the time never came, and I don't think it's ever on sale, so that would really incentivize me to be buying it. My time was playing Splatoon.
You could get 2 rice cookers,
2 rice. Well,
here in Australia for $40, but yeah.
Oh, okay. It's 40 USD. Either way. But then I had always loved Fire Emblem Warriors a lot. Like a lot. People were very quick to rag on that game because they're very quick to shoot it down and say the story sucks and all the fighters have the same moveset. So it's so lazy. And it's like, y'all don't even realize that fighters having the same moveset means there's less for you to memorize and know which ones are the best, like, AoE skills and which ones are the best single target skills. These are the 2 things you gotta know in Warriors games, is killing the most people in the area per, like, time and input method, and then breaking shields and targeting commanders and bosses. It's like, with less people, less movesets to think about, it's less worrying about it.
Yeah, no, for sure.
You have to keep so much information in your brain. It's less work for you to do.
Yeah, because like in the newer game, like all the characters have their own sort of movesets and stuff, and when you go, it's just when you go through it, you just
makes a more avid effort to really differentiate characters from each other. Because it's way freer than the previous Warriors games, but if anything, it's a lot like Three Houses. It is almost, I think it's because Koei Tecmo helped develop Three Houses as well. Yeah. I just felt like they ported a lot of things directly over to Three Hopes, and it's like, you know what? This works. This works in a very good manner, and I am here to play it.
Yeah, no, they definitely benefited from being very close to like the source material, which like how they were able to implement it in this game. It just felt like a Fire Emblem game, which is which is really good. I absolutely loved my time with the game, and it made me want to go back to Three Houses, but it also made me want to go back to other Warriors games because in the past
Oh
with
yeah.
Hyrule Warriors and Fire Emblem Warriors,
Hmm.
I bought both games on the Wii U and the Switch, but I never really wanted to. I never really got that far into them. I just got kind of bored of them.
Yeah.
But I
I'll
think
say Hyrule Warriors is out of all the ones that I can think of, out of all Nintendo-based Warriors games, Hyrule Warriors, the Hyrule, even its definitive edition, is to me ranked the lowest among them all. They're all good games. It's just ranked the lowest
mm,
because a lot of it is you doing all the work and the computer not
yeah.
doing anything.
Mm.
Because it wouldn't surprise you to learn that the game actually does uh, to save on loading time. The game doesn't load characters until you're in a set radius, like around them. So if your allies aren't in your radius, they aren't gonna do anything. And
Mm.
usually they don't do anything anyways. They just sit around in your camp. It's like,
Yeah.
what the heck? Go do something. Can't you order your allies to do things? And that was what Fire Emblem Warriors added. Just the simple addition of tell your unit to go here. Just absolutely changed the whole Warriors game. It's not even giving them the set orders, which you can do, like pair up, attack, or defend. Just moving the units you aren't playing as, and then you can switch over to them. It immediately makes like trying to go to different side areas so much better because it's not just you having to manage this giant map all by yourself. It's a team effort, which is what Fire Emblem's all about. It's not about one unit stealing the show. You can't use
Mm.
Frederick to just deal with all your problems. You gotta balance it out. You gotta get it all going.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because I absolutely love how like the strategy is implemented with the Warriors gameplay. How like when you go to the pause menu, you can give your like units orders, and like even if it's like, oh, I've got to get rid of this guy, go hover over them with the cursor, just all out attack. I thought it worked really well, and it sort of introduced an element to the game that I really liked because in other Fire Emblem games, I don't know, I really liked turn-based strategy, but for some
Yeah.
reason, I just always fell off Fire Emblem. It annoys me. I don't even know why. It's not
That
because I
seems
don't even like
weird.
it. Yeah. So
That sounds
yeah,
like you would be turn-based strategy is exactly what Fire Emblem is. Maybe because it's a
yeah.
little too like large scale. Chapters are pretty big ventures. They're gonna
Mm,
take like 30 minutes to get through if you're, carefully thinking everything through. Maybe even longer if you're at it, but this Warriors game, it does a really good job of balancing quick uh battle moments, and then
mm,
at the end of chapters, they're a lot longer. There's plans, you gotta do a lot more.
mm. And they feel
It's better
great,
at
don't
doing
they?
that.
Just like when you're in a big battle and stuff's happening, and then you have
I do
a
like how there's a set difference between big battles and smaller auxiliary battles.
mm. Yeah, you got like someone coming in from the side. You're dealing with them. You got a thief who's trying to get away, so you got to send
Oh
someone
yeah,
to
little
take care of
side
them. And
missions.
yeah, because like
Side missions are good.
for me on my team, I pretty much overpowered Shez a heap because they were the
Oh yeah.
person that I played the most. Was your Shez really over leveled, or were you sort of
Um,
using someone else a
I
little bit
tried
more?
to keep it balanced. Well, I
Mm,
guess we should first explain a little bit. So the player character is you can pick their gender and you can choose their name actually, but I just went
mm,
with default names the first time around.
yeah.
They're Shez. And so Shez has their like own unique class. I found when I used Shez's unique Fugal class, I would like completely floor the enemies. And
Oh
it's
yeah.
like, I'm not, this is a little too easy for me. So I'll just keep Shez at base in case things go bad. But I really want to use like Dimitri, my main lord, and some other people. I tried to keep it a little more balanced, but it doesn't hurt to have one extra overleveled person in case you need to play level catch up suddenly. Because you can only raise the levels at the training grounds to the highest level of whoever's in your army. So if you got one person that's way higher than the rest, that allows the bar to go a lot higher for your other characters.
Yeah, I felt like I was
Shoot.
really relying on that facility, like the training facility,
Mm-hmm.
to keep the rest of my party like even comparable to Shares. So I think near the end I was level 60, I'll say 65 for Shares. I can't remember exactly, but
Wow, I was around the 60s, or was it the 50s? I think it was the 50s. So you went 65? Holy moly.
yeah, no, yeah, Shares did most of
Did
the
you
work for me.
did you give them the experience orb?
No, I didn't know. So
Hmm.
even if I did that, imagine that.
That would have been extra high. I feel like we should explain the story a little bit, because unless you know exactly what we're talking about with this game, it's a little hard to get into because there are a lot of tutorials. That was something I was quite
Yeah,
surprised about this game is
definitely.
tutorials and explanations. It got to Act 2, and they're like, we have a new gameplay element to introduce to you. And I'm like, I am halfway through the gosh darn game. You're telling me now that there's new stuff to do?
Yeah,
The answer
because
is
like
yes.
for me, like the first 10 hours, and like
Mm-hmm.
for me with a baby, when
Mm-hmm.
when I get time to play, it's like 9 o'clock at night, it's late, but I'm just getting like tutorial after tutorial, reading text. I'm like, oh, I don't know about this, because I just want to sort of get in there and go guns blazing and defeat the armies.
No, you
And
have to prepare for combat. This is a
yeah, absolutely.
war.
Yes,
You can't
I
just
know.
go in and
But
fight.
just like I've noticed a lot recently is that when it comes to gaming, I tend to stick to stuff that I know, because when I get my free time to play games, it is at a
Mm-hmm.
time when I want to wind down and relax. But
Yeah.
Chantel sort of pointed out to me that she finds it hard to get into games because when we've got free time, she's got to learn like the controller, mechanics,
Mm-hmm.
all of this stuff. It's just like the wrong time for it. And
Yeah.
I was sort of finding that I'm like, oh, I'm like going back to school learning all this stuff. Like I haven't played that many Warriors games, and a lot of the Fire Emblem mechanics are, well, a long time ago for me now, 4 years when
Mm-hmm.
um it was 2019, or it was 18, wasn't it?
Mm.
Three
For
houses. Yeah, so it's
three
3 or 4 years ago.
houses?
So
Yeah.
it was a little while
I'll
ago.
look it
So
up to be sure.
relearning a lot of this stuff, and but after that 10 hours and when all the mechanics sort of click, it isn't like too complicated once you know all the facilities, you know how the relationship
Mm-hmm.
sort of meter and that works, and the support conversations, and how everything works in battle, and how you can pair people up, and it all sort of comes together in a really nice way, which has like a nice gameplay loop when you're going back to the base,
Mm-hmm.
talking to all your characters, going around doing your tools, your armor, your levels, your relationships, getting it all together, getting the side stories, which are all
Mm-hmm.
fantastic and add like nice context to all the characters. And
I
it's yeah,
love it. It's a
mm,
lot. It really, I mean, it gets you engaged in the characters. I think that's always a complaint. It's like Fire Emblem characters stink. They're either muscles or humana hominas, and that's it. There's no in between. There's no good characters. And it's like, well, if you have the time and patience to, read supports and think about things in a more, I guess, generous light, then yeah, there are some really great characters in
mm,
Fire Emblem Three Hopes. I think definitely some characters benefited in Three Hopes, and some characters are a lot worse representations of themselves than they were in Three Hopes. Because so the thing about Three Houses is that there's the academy phase and there's a war phase. So basically, at the academy phase, you get characters and it's like they're just starting out, but as a professor, Professor Byleth, you grow with them and they don't change too much, but you grow used to them and they nurture. And then you take a big 5 year break and then they come back different people. But in this game, you're barely in school at all before they're like, all right, we got to close the school. War is breaking out. And you jump to 2 years later. So they're at different points in their lives. So I'd say a good example might be Hilda in the Golden Deer house. How when you first meet her in the academy, she is if she is in the academy phase, which is she's very lazy. She can always
mm,
get other people to do work for her. She knows how to sweet talk and compliment. And by the time you meet her again at the war phase in Three Houses, that's the hard part about talking about this game in Three Hopes is that they start with the same consonant and vowel. So are you
Yeah,
talking about houses or hopes?
gets your tongue
This
tied a
is,
little bit when you're thinking
I guess,
about
the
which game. Yeah.
warriors. I'll say houses and warriors. So,
Okay.
so you talk about. So when you see her again 5 years later in Three Houses, she's kind of gotten over that part of herself, and she's a very hard worker. She's putting in the effort where it counts because the time for it is very needed. But when you see her again in Warriors, she's still a bit on that. I wish other people would do my work for me. And I guess you guys don't really like me that much because my brother's a lot stronger. And he's like the best warrior we got. And he's not on the team right now. So I guess you're stuck with me. Sorry if you complain a bit. So she's not fully changed as a character. She hasn't gone through the full growth yet.
Yeah, a lot
So
of
you
the
got
characters
characters.
just haven't developed the same way.
Right,
Yeah.
but then they will some develop over the story of the game,
Mm.
and then some people just get more time overall. But I'm specifically talking about Dedue because Dedue really got the short end of the stick in Three Houses. Because what would happen is if he would only be on Blue Lions, and if you didn't do his paralog in specific things, he wouldn't come back after the time skip. He would die. So, to make up for this, the game kind of replaces his role as Dimitri's right hand man with this other guy who's like Gustav, Gilbert, one
Mm.
of the two names. So, it replaces a lot of his role as like Dimitri's confidant and big armored friend. But because you don't have to do any of that paralog stuff, you go right to the Second Year War. Dedue is there, and he's very prominent, and he gets lots of screen time. He even gets to be in one of those beautiful 60 FPS looking cutscenes, and it's very enjoyable to watch and just to see that they don't have to throw a character out because you might not have done all the work for them, and they don't have to worry about a failsafe like that.
Yeah.
Very
No,
good, very nice.
it is cool that like characters that you wouldn't expect are there, and like I said, I've got no context because I haven't like I don't want the I guess the Three Houses story spoiled for me, especially if I want to go back to it. And somehow I haven't had it spoiled for me, so that's good. I
Well,
guess.
I don't know how, because the game kind of expects you to know it. It
Yeah.
doesn't really. It'll take time to explain that there's three different houses. There is, of course, the Black Eagles from the Adrestian Empire. There are the Blue Lions from the Kingdom of Fargus, and of course, the Golden Deer are from the Alliance, the Leicester Alliance. And it'll take time to explain that like 50 times, but they will not stop to explain a lot of other things with characters. Like they'll just be talking and then someone mentions a dead fiance and you go, "What? Where is this coming from? Who's your dead fiance? I didn't know about this."
Mm.
Turns out it was at Three Houses in the main story, and because you didn't play that one before you got to Warriors, it's just a little empty bloop. Oops, because you didn't play Warriors. Sorry, you didn't play Three Houses before you played Warriors. But it's fine.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is. You know.
Either way, I guess we should get into the story first. 'Cause
Yeah.
I like where the story went a lot. I have no idea how it goes through each of the different paths, but just the overall setup, it was very interesting. So why don't you get started with that?
Yeah. I really enjoyed it as well, and for me, who was missing a lot of the probably context as where things originally went and what characters were in a different universe, because the whole story for this is that instead of Byleth meeting the three captains, it Shez comes across them, and Byleth is actually the main antagonist of this game, essentially.
Yeah.
So yeah, he or she shows up every now and again, but the
They.
marketing was like she's the protagonist. Like
They're
from
gonna murder you.
like just before
I think
we
Dortagonist is the term for it, when it's like they're an evil antagonist, but they're not quite an antagonist. They're the dark hero, I guess.
Dark
So
Hero.
it's up to you if
Well,
you
they're not
want to
even
get
bad.
them.
They're just getting paid by
They're
someone else.
against you.
Yeah,
So
they're against you. That's
dark.
bad. Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
misaligned.
like for me, I chose the male Shez and the female Byleth. Where did you go on that scale?
Uh, I matched the genders pretty much. So my first playthrough was sticking with Azure Gleam. I think that's the Blue Lion's path.
Hmm.
And I went female Shez, female Byleth. And on my Golden Deer route, I'm going boy Shez and boy Byleth.
Yep.
It makes sense to match it all. And honestly, something that's pretty great is that the main drive for you being alive in this game, Arval, I think is pretty sweet. How Arval doesn't really have a defined gender, and a little post game spoilers. Skip for like 15 seconds or so. When you get to recruit Arval and you look at their stats and what classes they can do, their class options actually differ by gender of your Shez and aren't based on their own gender like they are for Sophis. So if you picked a female Shez, then they're on the Gremory path for mages, and if you picked a male Shez, they're on the Dark Bishop path, which I appreciate that the god isn't restrained by gender binaries. Go Arval.
Yeah, that was cool.
They then solidarity or
Because
support.
for me, I basically chose what was on the box art. I chose the male
Yeah.
Shez and the female Byleth, and I went down the Scarlet Blaze. So I wanted, I've heard the good and bad things about Edelgard. You know, she's a. I was just keen to see
Ooh,
like
ooh, we're starting with Edelgard. Ooh, oof.
why is that off?
That's what I've got to say about Edelgard is oof. Because man, if one thing did not change between this timeline and the Three Houses timeline is that Edelgard will declare war on the Central Church. She will do it. Nobody is going to stop her from doing it,
No.
even though it's I don't know. This whole thing about Three Houses is that there is no clear good and bad. Each side very much has its positives and negatives, but Edelgard really is pushing the line there. She's really pushing it on the evil side. At least when you play on Blue Lions, it's like what she'll do is, whoo boy.
Yeah, it's interesting because like obviously the whole path system is set up just for different perspectives, and when you're on Adelgard's side, it's like, oh well, what she's doing makes sense. But there's been other events in history where that's been true as well, and
Right, but then you're kind of biased to
didn't turn
her
out so well.
perspective because she can phrase what she's doing in a very, positive and like she won't address the negatives. She'll comment on them like yes, they exist, but my path is better and you should follow my path. And it's like she doesn't want to tell you about the bad things or frame them in a bad light, in a truthful light. Not that either. It's complicated. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
even like the parts of the story where it's like, they're invading the kingdom and stuff. It's like, yeah, I don't know if this is the greatest thing to do. I don't know what they've done.
yeah,
It's like
I don't
yeah.
know if we should really be pushing this, pushing the envelope so hard. Yeah, a lot of Edelgard's, a lot of her passion comes from personal, like it comes from the heart. So it is very much, she's quite a stick in the mud. She will not change her views on things, even when you get to like way close to the end. I think it's like the final few chapters when you go into that crazy fever dream area. Even there, at least on the Azor Lion side, she was very like, don't, we're not friends. We're not friends, and we never will be. Stop looking at me. It's like, all right, Edelgard, jeez. Guess I won't be your friend. Ugh.
Because I went and had a look at like a few of the different endings and stuff, and it's interesting how different each ending is depending on what side Sheds picks. Which is
Yeah.
and I was thinking when I was playing through the game, like I was just dominating everyone because of my big overpowered Sheds, and I was thinking like, geez, if I wasn't on this team, that would be dead. That would be so
Oh
dead.
yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
it's pretty much what happened. Yeah.
Yeah. Whichever one you support. I don't know how. It just gains the power to really move forward. I don't even know if it's just Shez themselves. Maybe it's like the opportunities that you as Shez provide to them.
Mm.
But I do like how the game starts out alliance-less. Even when you first play, you first pick a team. The first mission that you guys do together is always the same. It's go into the bandits' warehouse,
Yeah.
hideout, and like beat them up, and then go find a student, rescue them, and then escape. And that's what I think there's something super funny is that you going and finding these three lords like one day, a couple hours earlier than Byleth and their dad do, throws a complete wrench in this enemy's plans. Of course, talking about the dumbly named, those who slither in the shadows, also called the snakes. I will be referring to them as the snakes because they are snakes of living creatures. So you just doing stuff a little earlier is throwing an absolute wrench in the snake's plans, and you rescue somebody who, I suppose, spoilers for Three
Mm.
Houses. Turns out she dies in Three Houses, and the Monica you meet in Three Houses is actually she's a phony. She's just Cronia disguised as her, and she'll kill Gerald, like stab him in the back while his
Oh.
back is turned. So because you rescued the actual Monica, everything starts falling apart. And then Monica's like, yeah, I know who kidnapped me. It was Tomas, which is like a big revelation in Three Houses. And here she's just like, yeah, it was Tomas. He's right over there. And suddenly the snakes are like, what? Our units are being compromised. We don't have any spies left in the church. What's happening? Wait, everything just starts falling apart, and it changes history so drastically.
Yeah.
It feels like the little butterfly effect, where it's like a
Definitely.
little, the flutter of a butterfly's wings can like create, what was it, a tornado or a cyclone effect?
Yeah, like yeah, down
It's
the line.
something where
Yeah.
this, yeah, the small puff of air leads way to like a tornado of changes, which is pretty hilarious. And I just like in this game also that Monica gets to live. I think that was something I was very sad when turns out the Monica you rescued was a liar. She already died. And someone's just walking around posing as her. It's like, I wonder what
Mm.
the real Monica was like, what it could have been like to
Mm.
have been friends with her, have her on your team. I wonder what her skills were. And you kind of learned about that in this game, and the answer is she's just Hubert number two. I'm sad to say, apparently.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because Monica, she was one of my favorite characters. Because
Yeah.
like on my team, she was a big Edelgard simp, pretty much. She-
Well, I've heard it described that Monica's character, her it is in relation to her proximity to Edelgard, which is to say, if she's next to Edelgard, then she's total like nutcase. But the more distance she is from Edelgard, the more interesting she can be and stand alone on her own, and not just have her character be defined by I work for and I like another person.
yeah.
That's quite important for her character.
Like every single side conversation, she was just saying like, "Oh, Edelgard, I'm so jealous that you got to train with her. I'm so jealous that you went and battled with her." And I'm like, calm down,
Got to
mate.
kiss her on the lips. How could you? I want to kiss her on the lips. So,
No,
no,
I
I'm
in one of our expeditions. This is one of the parts of the game that made me laugh a lot. I put this on
oh
Twitter,
yeah.
but yeah, just doing the support conversation with Adelgard, and at the end it has like an option just to observe. I'm like, that's
Yeah.
weird, but
You
you
could just
click on it,
stare at him.
you just stare at them. You sort of look up and down their character model, and when you do that, she just like has the dialogue basically saying, "Are you looking for a crack in my armor that a sword might slip through?" I'm like, what? I'm like, what?
Well,
That's very on the
I kind of
nose.
like
Jeez. It's
I
funny.
did like that aspect. So what it is it's that tea time in this game has been
Hmm.
replaced with expedition time.
Yep.
So what it was before is that you could have like set tea time with a student or a warrior in the war phase, and you talk about and you try and get them engaged in topics that they're interested in and respond in kind to things they do. If you remember in WarioWare, the little micro game about
Yeah.
that. It very much matches that. And it felt like such a blow in the wall when I found out that the silly music they used in WarioWare Get It Together was the real music for Tea Time. I was like, no, this dumb music can't be the real thing, but it was. So if you have a really good conversation with them during expedition, little break time, you get to just hang out with them. This to me was the most dating sim aspect of the game. It pretty much rivals Fire Emblem Fates getting to poke the models. You know, because who wouldn't want to poke a 3DS model? Am I right, ladies?
Yeah.
But you get to look at them down. And I do like that area because it addresses more of their physical features, which, man, that was pretty darn fun as the trailers for this game were coming out. They released them by houses. So first we got to see what the Black Eagles looked like in this in-between phase. It's
Mhm.
like, ooh, how does what they look like different from in the other game? So it's like, for example, Bernadetta, her hair looks terrible. It just does.
I love Benedetta.
It's
Yeah.
very much a shame of her hair from the 5 year time skip, and there was a completely different look for her. Here it's like she just took her hair and she's tired, she tied it up into like a neat bun and then left the house. So you can look at her hair and she'll talk to you about why she put her hair up like that. And it's like, you know what? That helps out a little bit. It helps to reason out the character that you look at them and you say, why'd you do your hair like that? It's not just a given that their hair came out like that.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't know,
cool.
it's interesting stuff like that.
Yeah, because I guess we are talking, I guess, spoilers now. So
Yeah. Yeah, we're
let's turn
very
it
far
on.
into spoilers.
Yeah, turn on the spoiler thing, because like
Oh
for
boy.
me, like I didn't know that about Monica. So like in three houses. So now
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm not gonna trust her at all, and that makes me, I don't know.
Well, she acts different and she looks different too because Kranya keeps her Kranya personality of like whimsically brutal as she's Monica. And she's like, hee, I'm gonna stab you now. And she stabs your dad. It's so heartbreaking. And I do like how in this game you get to keep, not only do you get to keep Monica alive, but you also choose to keep Gerald alive as well. And it's pretty great that he gets to stay alive in a battle that he didn't want anything to do with. I think that's some of his. Poor
Mm.
Gerald got the short end of the stick. He didn't want to join you again, like back at the church in Three Houses, and then he got killed for it. What the heck? So I'm very happy that he gets to live through. But I honestly, maybe it's just the Azure Alliance path. There were really no support conversations. There was him, Adel, between him and Edelgard, him and the player character, because you have talking conversations with everybody.
Mm.
And I'm pretty sure that was it. Like, not even
Oh.
between any of the Knights of the Saros, all that stuff. Just all that good stuff. And then also, I do like in this game how, depending on the path you go down, you can recruit different characters. So it's like, I think if you want the most characters overall, Blue Lions is the way to go because it is the most, like, overall peaceful route. You even pick up a lot of people from Adrestian Empire just because Edelgard sends them your way. And you can tell them to surrender and they will because they don't care for the
Mm.
empire that she's building, really.
Mm.
And then you ally with Leicester, so you get half of the Golden Deer units. And then because you chose to protect Lady Rhea, you get a lot of the church units as well, Knights of Saros. I think it's very dumb that we didn't get Srill, because you can get Srill in Three Houses, but you can't get him at all in the Warriors game. I don't know why they chose to do that. Instead, they just made him like little. I love Lady Rhea. He's even a worse simp than Monica. This is a travesty.
Well, you need some simps in this game, you know. You need,
Every house needs a simp apparently.
yeah, yeah, the classic house simp. So, what are some of like I guess your favorite characters? Like, you're a big Dimitri fan. What makes you a fan of Dimitri?
Well,
a simp for
I
him,
think,
or you think it's just a
I
nice
mean,
man?
I wouldn't call myself a simp for him. If I had to, I don't know. If you're making me pick between the three lords, I would say Dimitri, but Claude comes at a real close second.
Hmm.
But I think that's more of a Claude from Three Houses than a Claude from Warriors, because Claude from Warriors makes a big dumb decision, at least if you're going down the golden wildfire route, and it's like, Claude, why are you doing this, Claude?
Claude.
Basically, he becomes a mini Edelgard, and he also thinks that the central church needs to be gotten rid of because it's causing all the fighting in the first place. So Claude's like, let's just nip it in the bud, even though the bud is fully sprung and is a tree at this point. We're gonna chop down the tree, and then everything will probably be okay. It's like, Claude, where did your brains go?
Yeah. So
You're
th
making a really bad decision.
there's a part in the
Adrestia
middle
is
of the
not your
game
friend, and Fergus is now your enemy. Why are we doing this, Claude?
because there's a part in the middle of the game where you can either recruit or kill Byleth, and
Yeah.
this has a big sort of fork in the story. Personally, for me, I just did the battle as normal, and I just killed Byleth. So
Yeah.
my story took took the more unfortunate turn because I was just like, oh,
Oh.
I'm just gonna play it as I play it. But when you
Yeah.
reached the point in the story, did you recruit or kill
Well,
Byleth?
when I first played through, I royally messed up the mission because it was like you need to go through the base in a
Mm,
set like path, and then
yes.
I did not do that. So then the whole play got messed up. And then I murdered Gerald. And I was like,
Yeah.
I don't think I was supposed to do this. And I'm sitting through the cutscene that's in between killing Gerald and another big death. And I'm like, I don't feel good about this. So I reset my game and I looked up how do I do this properly. And then I did that. 'Cause apparently, if you kill one dad, another dad in the universe dies because Felix's dad also dies. If you go on a path to kill Gerald and Violet, so does Rodrigue. It's like, gosh dang it. I worked hard and made sure Rodrigue didn't die already because automatically in Three Houses, during the 5-year time skip, Felix's dad Rodrigue just passes away. He just does so. You can't really control it. It's like, dang it, he died again. So I went back and I did it better. Because dang
Yeah.
it, I was going to recruit all of the friends that I could. Everybody's coming on to the Blue Lions and you're going to have a good time. It's just better. Although I did feel some sense of guilt for recruiting some people. Like Dorothea did not want to be recruited. And whenever I'd talk to her around base, she'd say, oh, I hope Ferdinand and Hubert are alive because we haven't seen them in a while. I hope they're not dead. And I think it was implied that they did die, that they
Oh.
got like killed off at some point.
Did you ever see him
And I
again in
think,
the game?
well, no, it was like at the Act 2 point, there's a big
Oh, right.
change. So
Yeah.
basically, what happens through Azure is that uh, you do avoid, and that's why I love Dimitri in this game, is because you help Dimitri emotionally before he decides to kill every last one of them. That was his meme line from Three Houses, is that Dimitri had a very troubled past, and what you go through in Three Houses does not help. In fact, it makes things 10 times worse, and he decides to go on a killing rampage and become the boar that Felix is always calling him to be and kill every last one of them. So this does not happen. He does not kill every last one of them. He will save every last one of them. But there's a lot of baggage to go through. So the first act is very much like having to go through Dimitri baggage. You gotta kill his uncle. You gotta deal with all these other people who are like, we hate you, Dimitri. Dimitri's like, I don't understand. Why is everyone hating me? Like, does understand. But it's like, who propelled all these like actions and emotion? What the heck? So by the time you finally get to fight Edelgard, you fight her and you got her cornered, and then the snakes come out and are like, this ain't good. So they steal Edelgard back and they basically brainwash her. They just kind of make her into like a puppet, pretty much, a zombie. She's got no will of her own. she'll just repeat back whatever you tell her to. And Adrestia really starts going down. The it really starts bad. It's bad. It's like tyrannical. Villages are getting slaughtered. It ain't good, son. So it's implied that they got rid of the closest seats to power that Edelgard had close to her, meaning Ferdinand and Hubert. But I think the funnier reasoning would be that Ferdinand and Hubert fell in love and that they wanted to be married, but Adressia didn't have same sex marriage legalized. And because Edelgard was no longer going to become the emperor and legalize it, they sailed away and just left Foldman as a whole to go and live in peace.
I can't even
And have
imagine
a
Hubert
better life.
in a relationship.
Really? What? It's like one of the most popular ones. What the heck? They're called the two jewels of the empire because they work hand in hand.
Because yeah, just like in my story, all he is just like he'll do whatever he can for Edelgard, and
Yeah.
that's all. I can't imagine him going off with anyone else.
Well, I mean, love changes people, I
True.
suppose. Anyways, yes, Hubert and Ferdinand have a very special bond, at least in three houses, and I'm pretty sure it retained in Warriors as well. But oh well. So
Must
yeah,
have been
that's
an
how the
aspect
story
I
went.
missed. Yeah.
I guess so. So anyways, because you go through with Dimitri on this very emotional journey and kind of unpack everything that had been set in stone before the game began, you just grow with him. He heals. You're there with him. Dedue is there with him. Everyone is there with him, and it's a very heartfelt experience. And it's like I feel so close to these blue lions. It is very much like it's like a kind of a found family sort of where everyone's been hurt in some way, but because they're all each other's friends, they can overcome those problems and make a better place so it never has to happen again. It's like, dang it, this is just, it's getting me in the heart, man. Ooh.
It feels similar for all the sides. I feel like on the Empire side, it feels kind of similar. Like you get to know these characters, and like you're putting effort into them with like leveling up and their abilities and their
Well,
classes
there's
and all that.
there's leveling them up in a gameplay sense, but also there's getting closer to them literally with their supports. Like
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
strengthening their bonds. I think that's another part that I really love about the game is that you can have like meals together, you can do chores together. You do more than just fight together, you live together, you eat together.
'Cause how
There's
long did
there's
it take
more.
you to play through the game?
Oh, 85 hours.
What? Oh my god! Oh, you spent way more
I
time than me.
really, really milked it for what it was worth because whenever
Yeah.
I'd get done with a chapter, I would find myself, I was really hooked on not just getting people on their recommended, is it class paths?
Hmm.
Yeah, on the recommended classes, because there's very much recommended ones. It's like this is what the character is meant for. They have stats in these areas that are like higher, and they're just better for that. But I was like, but I want all these other good skills that are on different paths. So I just need to replay auxiliary battles over and over again to really level up characters. I really want to see support with some people. And oh, we're so close to getting a mastery in this other class, so I'll just play one more. And that continued on for a very long time.
Well,
And
there you
I
go.
wanted to
That
max
yeah.
out all the facilities. I wanted to raise enough money to like max out facility rankings for everybody. So I spent a lot of time. I didn't want it to end because I realized I'd have to leave the Blue Lions behind and move on to a different group for the next path. It's like, but I love the Blue Lions. I don't want to let them go.
Yeah,
I
no,
like it
I
too
definitely get
much.
that. Yeah, because like for me, I spent like 33 hours, so I spent like nowhere near the amount of time you did. But I
Yeah.
think for me, I like in the week, I'm like I want to get it finished this week, because if I don't, I'll be stuck like with a kid and
Oh
all
yeah.
that. I'll be stuck on this for the rest of the year if I don't.
You're on a bit of a time limit, yeah.
I yeah, so I got to sort of utilize my time as well as I can, and while I would have loved to like spend a bit more time in it. I think like the 33 hours that I did spend in it, I really did enjoy, and I thought it was like all time well spent, and I could definitely see
Hmm.
myself like spending way more time between each battle, doing everything, talking to
Well, that
everyone.
was the I was really milking out in between segments, like
Mm.
the Rodrigue, Felix, all everyone around Dimitri, and even Dimitri at some points would be like, "It is the utmost importance that we get to this destination as fast as we possibly can." I'm like, that is very important, but also I need to clear all the surrounding areas, and I need to do like 10 in between battles before we can go fight the chapter. Just so we're extra prepared.
Yeah,
We need to be extra careful, okay? We can't let anyone die at all.
'cause for me, like the first say 20, 25 hours, I was doing like every
Yeah.
battle, but then
Mm-hmm.
like after that, I was like, all right, I need to sort of
You just
hurry it up a
gotta.
little bit. Yeah.
And the game does incentivize you for not going around and doing all of the
Mm.
battles. It's very much a bonus in post game because, hot dang, this game's got a giant post game because the post game is just playing any route, having a cleared route, and just playing the other two or even three routes just all over again because all your facilities carry over, all your gear carries over, everything carries over. So it's like, all right, I need to get to the end point faster. So when you do that, you get more renowned, which is like extra goodies that
Yeah.
you can trade in for points later, including different characters. But the characters are very awkwardly, you can only use them in extra battles. And it's like, what the heck? I want to tear through main battles with them, but I can't.
That would be good.
What
Yeah.
the heck? And they don't have any support, so it's like, what the extra heck? But then you can buy like a bunch of gear, like you can buy experience multiplying gear, class multiplying gear, just all sorts of goodies that just make faster playthroughs all the more better.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like, when I finished, I was like, I was a little bit sad it was finished. Like, obviously, I
Hmm.
was like, yeah, I finished it. I'm like, yeah, I finished the game. Cool. Go, dad, me. I finished
Ooh.
something. But yeah, I was like, oh, look, it'd be great if like just nothing else was going to be coming out in like around the game, and that I could just go jump into another route because I really liked it. And I guess that's like
Hmm.
the biggest thing for me is like
Yeah,
I've never
you're
felt that
quite
for a
floored.
Warriors game.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I
So
mean, I think this game definitely puts more to preparing for a battle because most warrior games there is a little bit of preparation, but most of the preparation is looking at like charts, going through a skill checklist, being like, okay,
mm,
here you got all these skills, can you even learn these skills, and you just writing down notes and all this stuff, and it's a lot of internal work, but here it's a lot of like in-game work as well.
mm.
So yeah, there's a lot of features to this game, so we're definitely not going to get to them all. But did you ever use battalions?
Not really. No, I bought
Yeah,
some and utilized them, but not like really thought about it. I said, oh, I'll buy
yeah,
that one, and yeah, I'll put that one on. But yeah, nothing like too serious as far as the strategy went. Because
yeah,
I was only playing on normal, and I didn't have permadeath
mm-hmm.
on, so I don't know
Yeah,
what you
me
played
too.
on. Yeah, so
That's what I did too. I'm on hard difficulty, and when you're post game, everyone's levels are boosted like 15 levels higher. So I went
oh
into a
god,
battle at level 6, and then suddenly I'm fighting like enemies in the teens. It's like, oh shoot, I've got to really balance my healing, and
that
like,
sounds
oh, I
terrifying. Yeah,
intentionally picked weak people to bring into this battle. Why'd I do that?
yeah.
Making decisions just to make things harder for myself. Ooh.
Yeah, maybe I should go back and try a hard playthrough because like a lot of this I smashed through. There was some that I did fail on because like
Mm-hmm.
the person I was meant to be escorting was being dumb, you know.
Squishy. Well, what you're supposed to do there is just heal them anytime they get scratched. You just throw healing skills at them and you hope that
Yeah.
they last through it. Gosh, I did have an annoying mission like that. I failed a couple, and it was mostly because what would happen is it's like, don't let the enemy escape. But of course, the enemy is on a flying unit, and it was a paralog, so you have to bring in set people, and nobody was a flyer, so the enemy would just fly right through a shortcut and just peace out. So I had to have a unit camped in that area. And because there wasn't a base nearby, they didn't want to hang around. I'm like, "No, stay, stay up there." And then maybe an enemy would come by, and I'm like, just get it, just get it. And then from there, it was all fine.
Because it's interesting. I was just thinking, like, we don't really have that much negative to say. Like, the only
I
negative I
bet,
sort of had
yeah.
was maybe those missions, and that might just be a taste thing for me because I wasn't utilizing maybe a strategy well enough. But
When it comes to Fire Emblem, really the gameplay is real good. Most complaints about Fire Emblem, and also I understand, is from story.
yeah,
Like it comes from characters. I think kind of lucked out because you found Monica's self to be just like what a, she's all about Edelgard, but whatever. Some people get real aggravated about that.
okay,
Golden yeah, the golden deer have a lot of like one note cases. Ooh, Lysithea is a trouble child. But don't call her child because she'll yell at you for 50 minutes about it. And you'll never escape her anger if you do so. Because she's not a child.
when you
And
throw your
that's
switch in the
most
bin.
of her character. And there's more to her besides that. But everybody has to go through in their supports with her, they have to go through like this entry level of I'm not a child. It's like I'm sick of this. There's more to you, Lysithea, than starting a conversation talking about your age. Okay, could we please get through that? And there's just other characters that people aren't too fond of. But really, if you when you the one you first join in is like the closest to your hearts. It's like I joined Blue Lions first. It's like, oh, I couldn't stand to separate any of these kids from each other. And it's true that in other paths you don't get the chance to recruit too many Blue Lions as opposed to Black Eagles and Golden Deer. They're a lot looser with their bonds to the team than the Blue Lions are.
Yeah, because in my when I did start and not really play that much three houses, I did pick the Blue Lions
Yeah.
because
It's
I
because they're
like
great.
Dimitri's voice. I love his voice. Such a
Good voice
sultry.
actor. I
Yeah,
love the voice acting of this game. It gets like A plus, top
definitely.
notch. Everyone is really high profile. I really like who they picked for Shez, for female Shez. I like when you're cooking and you get a silver graded meal. She goes solid, solid. Looks good, looks good. Is that I like how for Arval they distinctly went for kind of a genderless voice because again Arval is beyond the comprehension of gender binaries. So who's to say what their gender really is? Like Sothis will hang around it, but you know, Arval that is that any new characters they added in, they pretty much brought everybody back. I don't think they missed a single voice actor, which breaks my heart because right after this game came out, I believe Ferdinand's voice actor recently he has passed away,
Oh,
and it's quite heartbreaking
yeah.
because Ferdinand was perfect. Because he is Ferdinand von Eyre. It'll be so sad if Ferdinand ever shows up again in anything and it's not his original voice actor. It's, oh, it hurts the heart. But I think something else I like about Three Houses is they don't, it's not too many recycled voices. Like Dimitri's voice, I don't think I've heard it anywhere else. Some characters' voices, you've heard before. Like, there's a couple that overlap with Persona 5. The big one is Marianne, the icy blue girl from Golden Deer. Hers matches with Haru from Persona 5. There's a couple other Persona 5 overlaps, but for the most part, everyone is their own character. I really like Joe Ziega. He's the voice of Claude. He adds a lot of sauce to the Claude lines.
Yeah,
It's
Claude's
just
great.
it just makes him sound pretty great. And I also like how you're more in Claude's like personal life in Golden Deer. Again, you get different reads on the characters when you join different groups. So when you join Azure Lions, blue lions in the Zorgling path, and Claude's helping you out. He's very much acting like he's not gonna pull a knife on you, but uh-oh, what's this? I think it's a knife. Uh-oh.
Oh, it's in the
Uh-oh, I
guts.
think that
Oh,
knife's
whoops.
I think it's going towards you. Never mind. It wasn't going towards you, but you never know. The knife go towards you. The knife never does go towards you in a circle. Claude keeps his stinking promises in that route. He won't do it in other routes. What did Claude do in Scarlet Blaze? I've got no idea.
Oh, well, yeah. Claude, basically, if you recruit Byleth, like he stays aligned with you, i
Okay.
you and the Empire. But if you don't recruit Byleth, he pulls a sneaky and he goes off on his own path and tries to take down the church by himself and the
Wow.
Empire. So he tries to make his own. He basically becomes his own little empire, really. So it's interesting, like that little decision can make such a big change
Yeah,
that late in the
just
game.
one person being alive.
Yeah.
It's just that little butterfly effect. And I do also like how, so I'm pretty sure you get to the Fever Dream section as well, which happens where it's like all the three lords kind of are in one group together. And then also one of the snakes gets stabbed and sacrificed to pull everybody into like space. And in
Whoa.
space, everyone kind of puts aside their differences to like work together and defeat Arval. Because turns out Arval was evil. You were meant for evil, but you overcame that and you went to good. Did that happen in Scarlet Blaze, or is that something that only happened in Azurglade?
It didn't happen in mine. It might have. It might be because like when you recruit Byleth, you get a couple more chapters. So
Yeah,
those might
oh,
have been
okay.
those might have been the chapters I missed out on. Interesting.
Okay. So
Interesting.
yeah, you learn the truth about Arval
Because
and stuff.
cool. Because what I did a save just before chapter 10, so I can go back and correct
Yeah.
my ways.
I
It's
do
just
like how the game really warns you ahead of time. It's like this
yeah.
will mean a lot.
I'm like,
Don't.
all right, yeah. So I made an extra
Oh.
save, but then I looked at my clock, like from then to the end of the game, it was like 10 hours or something. I'm like, oh no, I don't know if I've got an
Oh.
extra 15 or whatever hours it will be
Yeah.
to go back. But I checked out like the endings and a few stuff on YouTube. I'm like, it's yeah, pretty cool how just like it all comes together. And I'm like, whoa, that's way different in another playthrough. I've got to maybe go and do it sometime, maybe in the holidays or
Yeah.
some free time.
So learning about all the different sides, seeing
But
what they all
because
mean.
like I really want to go back and play the original Fire Emblem Warriors, but at the same time I'm like I kind of just want to do a different path in this game because
I'd
yeah,
say just do a different path in this game. I like Warriors a lot, but that's because I don't know. I was already partial to the characters pretty much because what Warriors did is it kind of picked a hodgepodge
mm,
of characters from Awakening, a lot of them from Fates, too many from Fates. But that's the problem with Fates is that it's really hard to pick just like a couple people. You can pick one and it be Corin, but it's really hard to pick a couple and not bring the whole families
yeah,
alongside with them. You can't just bring Ryoma. You have it's like a daisy chain. You grab
mm.
for one and you get three more.
It's a bit like Smash Brothers. Everyone complains about
Yeah.
the Fire Emblem characters.
Oh, Corn is fine.
Yeah,
It's
they're great.
whatever.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
no, I love
Anyway,
Byleth and that in Smash Brothers. I think it's great
oh yeah, because
that they're
they
there.
use the
Mm,
holy relics and stuff.
mm.
And that was also a fun thing how you could collect in this game. You get holy relics, and they're kind of stuck at a low power level. But if you pay a hefty fee, you can get them like unleashed. And then their power level increases dramatically. And with it, you also get like a special skill that only the wielder can use. And it's like, ooh, this just makes him even more special and unique compared to other units. I guess speaking of everyone using swords, it's another gameplay thing. Turns out people don't have to use swords in this game. Pretty much everyone has an open like class tree. So even though you're given
Yeah.
recommended paths for people, like Dimitri's recommended to go down the Great Lord path, you're recommended to go down a Sword Master path. Um, other characters, so on and so forth. Monica will be recommended to go down a Gremory path. You can
Hmm.
just decide, you know what? I don't have enough armored people on this team, and I've got three mages, and this person's got the best strength. So I'm just gonna detour this guy, and he's going to be an armored knight now. And the game's fine with that. It's quite free. Like people aren't stuck on the path that they choose, which in main Fire Emblem is how kind of their utility is.
Yeah.
Their usefulness is based on if they can fly or not, and if they're on horseback, because that it really makes a difference in Fire Emblem if they're on horseback.
Mm.
Although one thing I didn't love in this game is how kind of everyone besides sword masters, they all kind of end up on some sort of steed, and they're super heavily armored up, meaning that they can't wear their unique outfits post
Yeah.
game, and it's like
Yeah.
I didn't want. I wanted someone in their fun outfit, and now they're just wearing super armor. Why are we wearing super armor?
Just put on
But you
some
gotta
trendy clothes.
Yeah, and even though you can go into the options and say, "Hey, wear your unique outfits," they'll still say, "Nope, I need to be wearing my super armor." Like, do I really have to demote you and lose one of my moves, like a
It's all about the stats, baby.
C6?
It's all about the stats.
So
High
annoying.
attack, high defense, bit of
Yeah, higher.
speed.
I think it's higher growth rates is what it
Mm.
is.
Okay.
So the class you are depends on your growth rates. I think you can see it if you like reset someone's level to level 1 and you set them to a set class, then you like really raise their level and then you reset it, but then you change their class and repeat the steps, and they'll grow in different areas because it's
All right.
not fixed growth rates. They'll
Yeah.
naturally be higher in some areas, but their growth rates depends on the classes, and then that just depends on their other talents and blah 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 blah.
Blah blah
So
blah
so
blah.
much Fire Emblem stuff to get through. But then also you have to take into consideration their unique skills. Like I think Edelgard's was like all of her attacks have fire, but some characters are real confusing. Like Lauren's is it's like he'll have a little rondo of roses, so he's surrounded by a damage buffer. That can do stuff for you. And then there's like a whole bunch other to work with. Some of them, if you hold down the button after you finish a strong attack, it makes the other one behind it even better. And it's like, how so much to work with. But if you really want to be lazy, you could just have everybody, like, you decide, I just want everyone to be paladins. And so you make everyone paladins. And then you only have to learn one different play style. And things can work out for you.
Yeah, just have everyone be the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, then
Well,
you
we've just we're
list type images and blah blah blah.
yeah, sorry.
We've
I
been
was just
talking for
saying
so long.
we've almost had an hour and 10 minutes. What are
Ooh.
some things you would like to wrap up on about the game? Or
I
have you
don't know.
or have you
What are your
touched
wrap
me?
up points?
Yeah. I mean, my wrap up points is just like, I really enjoyed the story, the gameplay, everything about this game. I think it's made me a Warriors fan, which is
Mm-hmm.
a great compliment to the game. And I really want to go back and play Three Houses when I don't know. I really want to tackle Persona 5 when it comes out on Switch and a bunch of other stuff. So I don't know when I'm going to get to it, but it's definitely it's always been a shame point on my pile of shame.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's just sort of highlighted it a lot more for me that I want to get back to the story and see what all the characters are like in the, I guess, the canon version. So I'm
You
keen
know
to
what?
try
The
it that way.
canon version is the one you talk about. Also, I realized I didn't
Yeah.
talk at all about any of the Ashen Wolves. So they're kind of the rogue characters that you can pick up. You recruit them. It's optional to recruit them. Did you ever recruit them? They were Yuri, Balthus, Happy, and Constance.
Oh, I can't even remember now. Like honestly, I recruited a fair few people, but I never really
Mm-hmm.
used them outside of like
Oh,
my main crew. Yeah, I used
you
like the
always
main
just you
house
just stuck
members
to the main ones? I guess so.
mainly. Yeah.
Constance is a riot, and so is Happy. They're real great, but they're also it's like two more magic users. It's like I already got five magic users, and now I've got seven. So you really gotta pick favorites. This was my problem. I played for so long because I couldn't pick a favorite, so I was making sure everyone was getting levels at a same but very slow rate.
Yeah, yeah, that's why I stuck to just the main crew. I'm like, if I start doing everyone, it's going to take me forever to be at the suitable level.
And that's what happened to me. But I mean, I had a really great time with this game. Um, if you like Fire Emblem, play it. If you like Warriors games, play it. And if you like games where you can just kind of prepare and then attack, I think this is another game that's just good. I mean, I just enjoy it a lot. It's hard to put into words how I enjoy it. I could just explain that there are certain elements to the game, like the different facilities, and I say, and they are good. They make me happy.
That make you happy. That's good.
They make me happy. I took so many like screenshots and videos as I'm playing. It's like these are great moments to
It's
be
like a
going
family photo album. You're going, oh look, oh, they were so cute when they were that young. Oh, they grew up so fast.
I love when Rodrigue called the snakes a bad rash that wouldn't go away. So funny. Or it's like during a Dimitri support. It's like at the A rank support. It's at the end, and you tell him that he's gonna take your break, and by the goddess, you're gonna like it. You're gonna like the break that we're going on right now, Dimitri. The voice lines. I think voice lines just really help elevate the experience.
Definitely, yeah. Because I forgot to mention this, but after I finished, I went and played Live Alive, and that game's voice acted, and
Oh, I
yeah,
didn't know that.
Live Alive sort of highlighted that how good the Three Hopes voice acting was.
Oh, wasn't like very good.
Well, it's not even that it wasn't good. It's just it just highlighted how excellent it is in Three Houses, Three
I
Hopes.
suppose so.
Yeah, because like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with it in
Yeah.
Live Alive, and I haven't played like a whole heap of it yet, but just like the few hours I played, I'm like, okay, yeah, well, yeah, it just sounds a little bit more fake and red, rather than the
Like
actual
we're
characters.
reading off a script and I.
Yeah, yeah. Whereas you never think that when you're playing Three Hopes, it's just in the story.
Sometimes I would, just from people talking about different houses and dukedoms. And I'm like, how many manhwa have I read now? All these duke names and houses are just blending together.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. And they really like Russian. Everyone's got Vaughn is as their like middle name.
Yeah.
Everyone's a Vaughn in some shape or form.
Yeah,
The
there's
name of
lots
their
of-
weapons. So it's hard to learn it all.
Yeah, a bit of it went over my head as far as like locations and the other lords,
Oh
and
yeah.
I'm like, okay.
They'll be like, "Don't you know the throat of Fodlan's throat?" And it's like, "No." And they
No, I
explain it
don't.
5 times, and it's like, I still don't know what it is, even though they've explained it so many times.
Yeah.
Ooh, I guess something else we didn't mention is like the maps themselves. Whenever you go into like a castle, those were the hardest parts to navigate because what you'd think is I need to go into this big room and take a right, but turns out you have to go up the stairs, then go up another set
Oh,
of
yeah.
stairs, and really weave through. And it did feel like you were like invading a building when you were doing that, because otherwise it'd be like you're in a big field and you just run around on a flat surface. But there was a little added verticality, but only a little. I think I haven't played it, but Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity had verticality a lot better than this game or handled. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't played it either, so it's made me keen to play that. But I want to play it a little bit sooner, or a little bit closer, sorry, to when Breath of the Wild 2 comes out to
Oh.
get me in that Zelda mood. Because it's been a
Yeah.
while since I played a Zelda game, to be honest. But
I guess for me too. Yeah, the last ones I played was Breath of the Wild to get some amiibo features, and before that,
I did play Skyward Sword a bit, but don't really count it. Yeah, well, yeah, that too. Ooh.
Skyward Sword.
Delphine, I think we'll end it there. That was
Okay.
a great discussion about the game, and it's got so many things. I'm sure there's aspects we did not touch on, but that's okay. I think we both really enjoyed the game, and I'll be going back to it one day, sooner
Oh
than
yeah.
later, hopefully. Yeah. And, do you reckon you'll be playing through it still, or you've finished
Well,
with it? You've
once I
moved on.
get through my little Mario Kart phase, yes,
Okay,
I
cool.
think
Going back to it.
it'll be very easy to go back to.
Is it?
Just play.
Would it be like a game of the year contender for you, considering how much you're liking it?
Honestly, it's got a lot. So something my sister and I do, Peach, is that we don't like the Game Awards, mainly because they're not focused on a market that, like the crux of the Game Awards isn't really stuff we care about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just
Like a lot
commercial.
of the
Yeah.
contenders, well, it's a commercial, and also it's like we're not PlayStation and Xbox fans, so a lot of what they posit as good games is like it just goes right over our head, whoosh. So we've made our own little categories, and then we've
Yeah.
also got some joke categories too, like who's best boy, best girl, best wardrobe is a whole section. And we're midway through the year, and a lot of the list, like every category, pretty much has a Fire Emblem Three Houses because we don't want to double up. It'd be real easy to be like, for 5 outfits, we're gonna pick 5 people from Fire Emblem Three Hopes. No, it's better to like try and split it apart. But dang it, Fire Emblem Three Hopes just keeps worming its way onto like every single contender list. So yeah, it's meaning a lot to me. I'd say Game of the Year is only being challenged by Splatoon 3. Just because Splatoon 3 is doing so much new. Splatoon always does whenever a new installment comes out. It's like you thought we did everything we could do in 2. Oh, you haven't seen anything yet. And it's just like the Inkling world, what you can do with sea life and shooters and culture as a whole is just massive. So I think it's gonna be hard up against Splatoon 3. But Splatoon 3 will have to come out and we'll have to see what it has to offer. But right now, Three Hopes is a pretty darn complete package in terms
Yeah.
of a good game.
Absolutely, and I dare say at some point in the year we'll have you back on to talk about Splatoon 3 if you'd like.
Oh yeah,
Sounds
give
like
me
you.
a wacko.
Yeah, yep. I've teed up Wacko definitely.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, we'll get you on at some point as well. We'll talk
Woohoo.
because I'm really keen to get into that game as well. It's been a long time since I played Splatoon. After I lost my save file transferring Switch, I completely forgot that does not go to the cloud. So there we are. But Delfino, we know you've been on a bit of a hiatus on your podcast, but you've got a
Yeah.
great back catalogue. It's evergreen. People can listen to it whenever they like. Where can they
That's
find
right.
it, and what's it all about?
It can be found on most major podcast platforms and on YouTube. So it's actually called the Delfino and Peach Super Show Saga, and is something of a spiritual successor to a hard drive podcast, where they were watching the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, which is really great. And that they had stopped it as they were watching Mario 3, and I felt so torn. And I liked Mario 3 anyways, so my sister Peach and I, we teamed up to watch through the episodes of Mario 3 and then give our thoughts about it. And then we were getting through Mario World, which is like a lot more deranged than Mario 3. Mario 3 is at least kind of grounded in the games. Mario World, just the budget went out the window, and so did everyone's cares, the writers' cares, writing for that show as well. I've had you on there multiple times. One time we talked about Crocodile Dundee being grilled on the Barbie as a lobster or something. And then another time we talked about everyone turning into chickens for eating that good.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was a great episode. I like that. I like that
The
one.
Scoopa Koopa. Did we make any KFC Australia jokes? I hope we did.
Oh, surely. Missed
We
opportunity
had
if we didn't.
to.
Yeah.
'Cause crazy for KFC in Australia because you have a different batter recipe. It makes sense.
Apparently, yeah. We were talking about
Yes.
this in the Discord, and yeah, someone brought
Oh
up
yeah,
that
all about foods.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, we've got different salt here or something. Oh, there you go. Because we love it here. And it's always weird because on podcasts I listen to in America, they're always talking about something else, but never hear KFC. And when I think of KFC, obviously I think of America. So I don't know. I was confused as a Australian boy who loves my KFC. I'm like, come on,
Mhm.
boy. What's going on over in the US? Come on, have some KFC. But apparently it's
I
poo
mean,
poo over there. Don't know.
well, it's just the comparison is to Chick-fil-A, and Chick-fil-A is like it's got a whole different, I think, baking process for the chicken, and that's just a
Mm.
lot higher. And maybe it's a local trend, but there's another place called Raising Cane's, and that place is like it is really the Scoopa Koopa of the local area. I went to high school with someone, and she talked about how she'd had it was about a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and she'd eaten Raising Cane's for like 4 or 5 meals. I'm like, how could you have done that? She's like, yeah, I ate it for breakfast and then had lunch and then I ate it again for dinner. How? Why do you eat so much fried chicken? Why? How do you not get sick of eating the same thing?
Are they
It's
just like a
so
ball
much.
that rolls around, just bloated?
No, they were like my physique and my age, and they had my about level of energy for stuff. It's just a whole sense of food preferences, and I'm just kind of sick of fried chicken. I'm
Mm.
done with fried chicken.
I'm done with fried chicken.
I'm done. I mean, it's weird. It's also weird because I actually do live in Kentucky, and
Oh.
my friends.
Oh, the plot
So here's
thickens.
the
All
thing.
right.
So my friend, her mother works at like a tourist art center, and the friend's mother has had people come up to her and say like, "So do you mostly eat KFC or do you have some other restaurants in the area?" And it's like, yes, just like any other state, we do in fact have other brand restaurants. It's just KFC just so happened to have started in here, and it
Mm.
also was it's named after the state. There's not really many other brand eatings that are named after the state. Papa John's is also made in Kentucky, but you don't hear people talking to us about eating Papa John's all day.
No, no. Mm.
Pizza's more of a refined personal taste, I suppose. Asking people what their favorite brand is, you'll get different answers.
Yeah, we don't get many
What's
options here for like just like fast food pizza. It's all like the local
mm,
chains and all that, which is probably better, probably. Maybe.
yeah, they put
I've never
kale.
had Papa John's or anything, so I wouldn't know. We don't
Okay.
have it here.
Well, I mean, where is your favorite pizza place, even if it's a local eatery?
Yeah, probably there's a place that actually my wife's friend owns. They
Mm-hmm.
do like great pizzas, homemade
Mm.
bases, toppings. Actually, the pub that I worked at, they did great pizzas as well, like homemade
Do they
bases
do
and all
like
that.
little small pizzas or
Uh,
big pizzas?
no, 12 inch. So like
Okay.
12 inch is
Because
just like a normal size to me.
some places like do these little small pizzas.
Mm.
They're so good.
Yeah, I'm a big boy. I want a full pizza. I don't want any of the small stuff. All right.
But you can eat like a full pizza. It just so happens to be like 2 inches radius
Mm.
size.
Sometimes if I ever go into a pizza place, I'm like, oh, what size would you like, mate? I want a party because there's a party up in my mouth here. I just want a big old pizza. Big
Just
meat
get
lovers.
pizza. Do you take leftovers home or do you just eat it all?
12 inch. I can eat a whole 12 inch. But
That's a lot of pizza. That's a
yeah,
lot
no,
of za.
I'll smash a 12 inch by myself. That's what I mean. I'm not having one of these little things you're talking about.
How do you cut it? Do
How
you
do I
cut
cut
it
it?
into eighths? Or do you
I
cut it
guess.
into 12ths or 16ths to deceptively get you to eat more za?
I mean, if I'm going out, I'm not cutting it myself. So I,
Okay.
I
I
get
guess
I
it
get
comes in eighths.
yeah. I'll get it how I'm given.
Okay. I say that because the smaller the pizza slices, the more you feel you can eat. I think, anyways. It's like mini cupcakes. They're really
Mm.
equivalent to like three minis is equal to one big, but I'll find myself eat like 10 of them. And it's like, oops, I
Oh,
wasn't supposed to eat 10 of them.
yeah. Bit of psychology there. Yeah. No, fair enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
smaller servings for larger appetites, I guess. I'm not a food expert. I don't know. You're the one who's worked at a restaurant, at a
Yeah.
pub.
Yeah. No, I talk it out to people. I'm not an expert
Is
on it.
that how? shots work is that you drink a little alcohol at a time and it doesn't feel like a lot until it's all in your system.
Well, I guess the thing is that if you're having a shot, like you're just having just almost pure, well, not pure alcohol, but 40% alcohol instead of having it spaced out over a big drink that's probably going to bloat you and make you burp and fart and do all that.
Go to the bathroom a lot.
Yeah, that's right. Go to the bathroom and just
lick Switch cartridges. Oh, it does terrible things to you.
Yeah, yeah. No, you definitely need some
Talking
drinks
about, I think it was a bachelor party episode. You had two friends over, drank a lot, licked Switch cartridges afterwards.
Did we do that? Well, I guess we
Yes.
must have. If you weren't there, so I guess we must have said that.
I wasn't there. I remember listening to the audio, being like, "Oh, I got a Switch game over here. Take a nice look of it." And you did.
Yeah, that was like was it episode 200 or something?
It
Might
was
have
in
the
200s.
Might
Yeah.
have been something like that. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, I guess we better wrap up this show. Everyone's just like. So everybody, thank you very much for listening, and Delfino, it's a pleasure having you on. Remember,
Thank
go
you
and
very
check out her
much.
podcast on all podcast services and her YouTube channel. Links will be in the description.
Delfino Durians. Yeah.
Yeah. But until next time, guys, the doors to the house of Mario, they're closed. Catch you later.